If you think a nice walk in a national park means a flat paved trail with a gift shop at the end, these 5 hikes are about to shatter that illusion. We are talking about trails that have made seasoned athletes cry, routes where a single wrong step means a 1,000-foot fall, and crossings so long and so hot that the National Park Service literally begs people not to attempt them in summer. But here's the thing. Every single one of these brutal hikes rewards you with something so spectacular, so utterly breathtaking, that thousands of people line up to suffer through them every single year. So let us break down 5 of the most punishing trails in America's national parks, what makes them so difficult, and exactly why they are worth every agonizing step. Number 1. Angel's Landing in Zion National Park, Utah. If you have spent any time on hiking social media, you have seen the photos. A narrow sandstone fin rising 1,500 feet above the Virgin River, with chains bolted into the rock as your only lifeline. Angel's Landing is probably the most famous scary hike in the entire national park system, and it has absolutely earned that reputation. The trail itself is about 5.5 miles round trip, which does not sound like much until you realize you are gaining over 1,400 feet of elevation in that distance. The first section is steep but manageable, a series of long switchbacks called Walter's Wiggles that zigzag up the cliff face. But then, you reach Scout Lookout, and everything changes. From here, the final half-mile to the summit follows a razor-thin ridge where the trail narrows to just a few feet wide with sheer drops on both sides. In some spots, you are literally straddling the ridge with nothing but air beneath your legs. The chains are there because without them, this would be a technical rock climb. Since 2004, at least 13 people have died on this trail, mostly from falls off the exposed sections. The National Park Service now requires a permit through a lottery system just to access the chains portion, which tells you everything you need to know about how seriously they take the danger here. So why do it? Because when you reach the summit of Angel's Landing, you are standing on a pedestal in the sky. Zion Canyon unfolds beneath you in every direction. The Virgin River is a tiny silver ribbon far below. The massive sandstone walls glow red and orange in the sunlight, and you feel like you are floating above an entire world carved by millions of years of water and time. There is no helicopter ride, no observation deck, no shortcut that gives you this view. You earn it with your hands, your legs, and your nerve. Number 2. The Grand Canyon Rim to Rim, Grand Canyon National Park, Arizona. This is the big one. The hike that turns confident hikers into humbled, blistered, sunburned shells of their former selves. Rim to rim means exactly what it sounds like. You start on one rim of the Grand Canyon, and you hike all the way down to the Colorado River, across the bottom, and all the way back up to the other rim. The most common route, north rim to south rim, covers roughly 21 to 24 miles, depending on which trails you connect, and involves about 5,700 feet of descent, followed by 4,500 feet of climbing back out. Most people do this as a 2-day backpacking trip, with a night at Phantom Ranch, or a backcountry campsite at the bottom. But a growing number of endurance hikers attempt it in a single day, which the National Park Service strongly discourages. And they have good reason. The inner canyon is a heat trap. Summer temperatures at the bottom regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body loses water faster than you can replace it. Hyponatremia, where you drink so much water without enough electrolytes that your blood sodium drops to dangerous levels, is actually more common here than simple dehydration. The climb out from the river is relentless. The Bright Angel Trail gains 4,380 feet, over 9.5 miles of exposed switchbacks, and by the time you are grinding up those final miles, your legs feel like concrete pillars that someone has set on fire. Every year, hundreds of hikers have to be rescued from the Grand Canyon, and a significant number of those are fit, experienced people who simply underestimated the combination of distance, heat, and elevation change. So why on earth would you do this to yourself? Because the Grand Canyon is not just a view from the rim. When you descend into it, you are walking through nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history. Each layer of rock tells a different story. The Coconino sandstone near the top was once a vast desert of sand dunes. The Vishnu basement rocks at the bottom are some of the oldest exposed rock on the planet. You pass through entirely different ecosystems as you descend, from pine forest at the north rim, through desert scrub, to the riparian corridor along the Colorado River, where cottonwood trees shade the turquoise water. Crossing the river on the Silver Bridge, looking up at a mile of vertical rock above you in every direction, you understand the Grand Canyon in your bones in a way that no photograph or overlook can ever convey. It is geology made physical. It is time made tangible, and it will absolutely wreck your knees. Hey, if you are enjoying this journey through America's toughest trails, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. And if you want more insider knowledge about national parks, the hidden gems, the secret spots, the tips that most visitors never hear about, make sure you subscribe to National Park Secrets. We are building a community of people who love these parks as deeply as they deserve to be loved. All right, back to the suffering. Number 3. Half Dome in Yosemite National Park, California. Half Dome is the iconic granite monolith that defines the Yosemite skyline, and climbing to its summit is one of the most sought-after hiking experiences in America. The standard route via the Mist Trail and the Subdome is about 14 to 16 miles round trip, with over 4,800 feet of elevation gain. That alone would make it a serious day hike. But what makes Half Dome legendary is the cable section. The final 400 feet of ascent go straight up the curved back of the dome on a pair of steel cables with wooden crossbars for footing. The angle approaches 60 degrees in places. You are pulling yourself up hand over hand while your feet slip on the smooth granite, and if you look behind you, it is a 4,000-foot drop to the valley floor. When the rock is wet, the cables become genuinely treacherous. Multiple fatalities have occurred when hikers lost their grip on rain-slicked granite. The Park Service installs the cables seasonally, typically from late May through early October, and requires a permit through a daily lottery. Even getting a permit is competitive, with far more applicants than available spots on any given day. The hike is long enough that you need to start very early, often before dawn, to complete it in daylight. You will pass Vernal Fall and Nevada Fall on the way up, both spectacular waterfalls that would be the highlight of any other hike, but here are merely appetizers for the main event. Why is it worth it? Because standing on top of Half Dome is standing on top of one of the most recognizable geological features on the planet. The summit is surprisingly flat, a broad granite platform where you can walk around and peer over the edge at Yosemite Valley spread out like a living map below you. El Capitan, Yosemite Falls, the Merced River, the vast forests, everything that makes Yosemite one of the most beautiful places on Earth is laid out beneath your feet. Ansel Adams made this view famous, but no photograph has ever captured what it feels like to be up there, wind in your face, knowing you climbed every inch of it yourself. Number 4. The Kalalau Trail along the Na Pali coast, Kauai, Hawaii. This one is different from the others on our list because it is not about extreme elevation or terrifying exposure. The Kalalau Trail is brutal because of its sheer relentlessness. 11 miles one way along the most rugged coastline in Hawaii, this trail gains and loses about 6,000 feet of cumulative elevation as it roller coasters along cliffs above the Pacific Ocean. The trail is narrow, often muddy to the point of being a slip and slide, and crosses multiple stream valleys that can flash flood with almost no warning. The red clay mud of Kauai is legendary among hikers. It is slick, sticky, and it will destroy any pair of shoes you bring. The trail passes through dense tropical vegetation that can be disorienting, and the humidity is oppressive. You will sweat through everything you are wearing within the first mile. Most hikers take 2 days to reach Kalalau Beach, camping at Hanakapi'i Valley at the 4-mile mark before pushing on to the end. The final sections of the trail involve scrambling across loose rock on narrow ledges above the ocean, and the remoteness means that if something goes wrong, rescue is complicated and slow. A permit is required, and they are strictly limited to protect the fragile environment. But Kalalau Beach. This is why people endure 11 miles of mud and misery. It is a pristine crescent of golden sand, backed by 3,000-foot fluted cliffs draped in green velvet. Waterfalls cascade directly onto the beach. Sea turtles swim in the crystalline water. The Na Pali coast rising around you is so dramatic, so impossibly sculpted, that it has been used as a stand-in for every fictional paradise Hollywood has ever imagined. Jurassic Park was filmed here, and when you are standing on that beach after 2 days of grueling hiking, knowing that there is no road, no hotel, no easy way in or out, you feel like you have discovered a world that civilization forgot. Number 5. The Highline Trail to Grinnell Glacier Overlook in Glacier National Park, Montana. Glacier National Park is one of the most stunningly beautiful places in North America, and the Highline Trail is where that beauty reaches its absolute peak, literally. The trail begins at Logan Pass, already at 6,600 feet, and traverses the Continental Divide along a narrow ledge carved into the garden wall, a massive arête that separates the east and west sides of the park. For the first few miles, the trail is cut into a sheer cliff face with a cable bolted to the rock wall for nervous hikers to hold onto. The drop-off to your left is immediate and spectacular, hundreds of feet straight down to the Going to the Sun road below. The trail stretches about 11.5 miles one way if you go all the way to the Granite Park Chalet, But the real prize is the spur trail to the Grinnell Glacier Overlook, which adds about 1.5 miles and 800 feet of steep climbing on loose scree. The challenges here are not just physical. Glacier's weather is wildly unpredictable. You can start a hike in warm sunshine and be caught in a whiteout blizzard 2 hours later, even in July. Grizzly bears are a constant presence along the Highline Trail. This is not theoretical bear country. You will very likely see grizzlies feeding in the meadows below the trail, and you need to know how to behave around them. Wind along the exposed sections can be fierce enough to make you stagger. So why do it? Because the Grinnell Glacier Overlook gives you a front row seat to one of the most bittersweet spectacles in the natural world. Below you, the remnants of Grinnell Glacier cling to the mountainside, a pale blue sheet of ice that was once massive and is now a fraction of its former size. Scientists estimate that all of Glacier's remaining glaciers could be gone within the next few decades. You are witnessing geological history in real time, watching ancient ice disappear in the span of a human lifetime. The turquoise glacial lakes below glow with an almost supernatural color, created by rock flour suspended in the meltwater. The surrounding peaks are jagged and raw, not yet softened by the millennia of erosion that have rounded older mountain ranges. Everything here feels young and wild and temporary. It is one of the most beautiful and most melancholy views in any national park. So there you have it. 5 trails that will push you to your absolute limit, and 5 rewards that you simply cannot experience any other way. These hikes are not about conquering nature. Nature will always win that fight. They are about discovering what you are capable of when the trail gets steep, the sun gets hot, and the only way out is forward. If you are considering any of these hikes, please take preparation seriously. Train for months, not weeks. Carry more water than you think you need. Check weather forecasts obsessively. Tell someone your plan and your expected return time. Respect the permit systems that protect both you and these incredible places. And remember that turning around is never a failure. The mountain will be there next time. If you found this video useful, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs a hiking challenge in their life. And make sure you subscribe to National Park Secrets for more deep dives into America's most incredible wild places. We have so much more to explore together, and I promise, the next video is going to blow your mind. Until then, stay safe on the trail, and I will see you in the next one.